Welcome to the first lecture of the World Schools Debate Championship workshop here at the World Debate Institute at the University of Vermont. There's a lot of world in that. And for our opening lecture tonight to talk about the World Schools debating format and to give you an introduction to the format and how to debate in it, I would like to welcome someone who's in her fourth year here at the World Debate Institute, has taught a variety of formats and is finally teaching her favorite one, the World Schools format. Her name is Bojana Skirt. She's the director of the National Debate Program of Slovenia, working in the high school, middle school, and university levels. She has won 2 English foreign language world titles with her World Schools team. She has effectively penetrated Slovenian society with debate for the better and has become a very important international debate organizer. Please welcome our first lecturer, Bojana Skirt.
Okay, firstly guys, I know that some of you already know something about this format, but the other ones never heard about it. So basically that's why for the ones who already know something, don't get bored and be patient. Okay, I believe that you will also, everybody will still learn something, but we need to do like from the beginning for the ones who are not familiar with it, right? As you probably know, Raul, because seeing your assessment forms, we understand that everybody has at least some debate experiences. We know that there are different debate formats around the world. And there are some debate formats when just one person debate on each side, and then we have debate formats with two sides, and we have debate formats with 3 speakers on both sides. World Schools debate format have 3 speakers in each team on both sides, right? It's a kind of, I would firstly like to do a little history because it's a kind of interesting story how this format was created. Like the format was created in 1988, and it was created specifically for the purpose of World Schools debate, high school debate championship. The idea came from the guy from Australia, Christopher Erskine. He's still around, and he's the president of World Schools Executive Council. When he came on, he wanted to start doing the World Schools Debate Championship, like international event. At that time, there were some debates, like mainly in the English-speaking countries, but there were not a lot of international events. So his idea was, let's do international, global, like World Schools debate championship. And at the beginning, the first year, there were only New Zealand, Australia, Scotland, and England. I think like 4,
I think Hong Kong.
Maybe Hong Kong. Debating in that first championship, it happened in Canberra in Australia. However, before they decided to organize the championship, they said we need to come out with the format which nobody really knows. So we should not use the format which one of the countries debate now, because then that country will be privileged. So we need to create a format and take different things from different countries so that everybody will be like the first time debating in that. What they did was they took 3-person teams, which was a habit in Australia. Like Australia had a debate format with 3 persons in every team. They took reply speeches from New Zealand, if I'm not mistaken, and they took points of information from Scotland and England, because they had it in British parliamentary debate. And so that's how the format was created. And for years, this debate format was debated only in the World Schools Debate Championship. In the this year we just came, like both James, PJ, and myself, we just came from Seoul. Like last week we finished the World Schools in Seoul, went home, and then I came here. And it was 19 in a row. So next year will be 20 years of that. So first years, like I think for the first 10 or something years, there were this format debating only on the World Schools Debate Championship, but then later on, a lot of countries started to adopt it. So now the World Schools debate format is debated in Germany, like that's the only format they do. Israel has it, Korea now, I think that they moved from Asian debate format to the World Schools. Like Slovenia is moving now, this year we start like at the high school level only World Schools, because before we had Karel Popper. And there are some other countries which do that as a format because we like it. It's actually from one tournament per year, a lot of people see it as a very good debate format to debate. So that's a kind of little history about it. Is how it was created. Now the format goes like that. We have three persons in the team. One team is for the motion, the other is against the motion. The speeches, and there are four speeches on each side. So basically we have three speakers give their own speech, and then first of the second speaker gives the reply speech. So we have four speeches on each side. The length of the speeches are 8 minutes. The reply speeches are 4 minutes. That's and the first how it goes is first government, then first opposition, second government, second opposition, third government, third opposition, then opposition reply, and then government reply. So that's how opposition replies comes before the government reply, which the government finishes the debate. So the motions, how the motions are debate, the motions like topics, resolutions, there are different words how we use it, I don't know what you are used on. There are two types of motions which we debate. Some of them are prepared, so-called prepared, and then for the world schools we usually get prepared motion 2 months in advance, but that's probably depends on the country what kind of practice it has with the prepared motion. So what does it mean if we get the prepared motion? That means that you know before you come to the tournament the topic, and you have a month or 2 months to prepare on it. The other motions which we got, like it's impromptu motion. So that means that you have just one or limited time preparation motions, whatever you call it. That means that you get the debate motion an hour before the round starts. Right? So usually they are different, they should be a little different. So prepared motion are expected that there are such topics that you don't have a lot of knowledge about it and that you need to do some work and some research, some working on it. That's why you have library cards and you will go to the libraries to research and work on them. So they are kind of such type of topics that they need more research and more in-depth analysis, and so we expect you not to have enough knowledge about that, so that you need to learn about it. Impromptu motions, however, should be the motions which we expect that you know something about it, and that you can come in 1 hour with the arguments for both sides. So that they usually kind of, so it's a different, they are teaching also different things, right? Because with the prepared motions, you then need to develop some more research skills and in-depth knowledge. And with impromptu is the main thing which is stressed is quick thinking and like how do you can make persuasive arguments very fast and use the knowledge you have. So there are different skills also which are taught. Usually the tournaments we have half of the prepared motions, half of the impromptu motions. That's how we do here. So we have the tournament you have 3 prepared, 3 impromptu. The practice debates we will do a little differently, but that's actually not really the main issue here. Like one of the things which is more about the roles of the speaker will speak James, what every speaker needs to do, we will talk later, but one of the things which is kind of probably new for a lot of you is points of information. The points of information are that's typical for this type of debate, which is so-called parliamentary debate, where world schools format fit. And points of information are questions during the speeches. Now, the ones who debated today already saw how it goes, right? So I think we need to, because tomorrow we have another debate. We will have a special lecture about points of information, but now I would just like to tell a little more about it. So, like you ask the questions during the speeches of your opponent, and each of the debater needs to ask at least two questions. Now, the problem is that the questions should be very short, and one of the problems we saw today in the morning was also that when you try to ask the questions, they were really long. So we need to be, the questions should be short, so don't spend more than 15 seconds on them. You need to raise, so you don't ask questions sitting, but you need to stand, and you ask point of information. Sometimes people do those strange things, like I don't particularly like that gesture. I think it's kind of silly. But the reason it's a standard from the British parliamentary debate, because that's what I was told. Maybe James will correct me, but
No, you're right.
that's what I was told, that in British courts, the judges or the lawyers had those wings, and when they stood up and asked the questions, they needed to, because otherwise the wing was falling down. So they put it one hand on here, and on the other they pointed out like that they want the question. And a lot of debaters in this like British parliamentary debate style, which is at the university level and the world schools use, you don't need to do that. You can do it if you want to, but as I'm saying, I think I'm not the only one which thinks that that's really silly. So, but what you need to do is to stand up and say point of information, and then you need to wait that the speaker let you ask the question or deny your question, right? You should, and if it's denied, you need to sit down. So the other thing, which is with point of information, and I think that the ones who are used in cross-examination, today they have a couple of problems. You're not allowed to ask the next question. Like, you ask one question, you get the answer, and that's it. And if you want to ask another question, you need to raise again. So you should not just, that's not a dialogue. Point of information is one question and one answer, and that's it. And then you need to raise once more. So be careful about don't use that time as a dialogue between the speaker and you. So be careful of that. But the other issue, first minute and the last minute is protected. That's usually the time the judges or the timekeepers they do this sign. So they do like that, and you know that now you can start asking the questions. And when the 7 minutes goes, you go like that again. You are not allowed to ask the question. So the first minute, the last minute, the points of information, you're not allowed to ask them. Why is that? Anybody knows that? Okay.
So that they can start their speech appropriately and have enough time to end.
Yeah. So that's why, because at the beginning you usually explain the main, so that you have enough of time to explain what you're explaining, and that you have enough time to conclude your speech. Every speaker should try to ask at least two questions in each speech. So that basically means that in one debate, each of you needs to try to ask at least 6 questions. Okay? You need to raise 6 times. That's a kind of good exercises on the other hand. And it might happen that you will not ask any question because the speaker will deny your question, but still you need to try to ask. The speaker, on the other hand, they also need to take at least 2 questions. Basically, that's actually the norm. If you take it less, that's a kind of minus for you, and if you take it more, it's also not okay. So you stick with 2 questions, and that's it. I think that's the safer. I think it's not so bad if you take 3 of the questions, but not more. Especially at the beginning when you don't have a lot of things to that's what I see, that usually in the beginning, people who don't have a lot of to say, then they take more questions, but be careful because answering your the questions takes time from you developing your arguments, right? So and it happened today when we had the practice debate, because you were taking a lot of questions, and because you answering them spent a lot of time on answering them, then you didn't have time to develop your argument. So be careful about that, right? So you need to, and that's one of the things you learn. Maybe at the beginning is kind of difficult, but then everybody learns pretty quickly. The other issue which you need to be careful with the points of information is that you are polite. Sometimes people are really aggressive about it, like maybe also because it's more relaxed things, but and no, don't do that things like point of reality, point of interest, and all that things. It's point of information, that's it. And that's a habit like that. You can also only stand up. You don't even need to say anything. You stand up and the speaker will see you and know that you ask the questions. You want to ask the question. If you try to ask too many questions, it might be perceived as harassment. So be careful. Don't jump all the time. Just because that means that you are bothering the speaker all the time. You can raise all 3 debaters at the same time. That really looks cool sometimes. That all 3 debaters just raise up. I like that. time to time, right? Yeah. Now all three, when it's something really important and the speaker says something really important, something you really want to address, then often, like sometimes happens that those three debaters raise. Then the speaker needs to decide who will ask the question. So maybe who can be. Now the speaker is the one who is in control. So at the beginning is often when you start doing this, it's pretty often happens that people are just afraid, and when somebody tries to ask the question, you accept the question. The fact is that you should be in control, and you are the one who decides which questions you will take and which you will not take. And you have all the right to say, no thank you, no thank you, right? Or yes please, whatever. Just try to be aware of that. And one of the things with the judging here also is that when we are judging also how many points are you asking, how many points did you take, and that would really not be, I think that's really bad if you lose the debate. Probably you don't lose the debate on the points, but in very close debates, might also the points of information will be decided. Like when the debate is really close, then the small things decide which side is winning, and that would be really stupid that you are losing because you didn't ask enough points of information, or you asked too many of them, or you didn't take them enough, or whatever. And so be careful about that, like points. And one of the most important things, I think, try to do a short question. Just 15 seconds. That's not time for making a speech. There are three main reasons why we're asking points of information. Sometimes you don't understand what the other side is saying, right? So that's why you will ask the question, because you will not understand and you want to clarify, right? Sometimes, but that's better that doesn't happen, but it happens, especially in an international community when we have different accents, and often we do not understand each other, or somebody speaks too fast or whatever, or it's not really clear, so you need a clarification. Then the main reason why you're asking points of information is because you want to show that it's something wrong with the arguments of the other side. Something that is wrong with what they are saying, and that can be many things. It's not necessarily that it's a question, can be a comment too. So it's not, you don't need only the questions, you can only comment things. And often, like some people say that comments are better strategy than the question, because whenever we ask something, we put ourselves in the minor position, we're asking questions, and commenting means that we are more, that we know more, right? So you just make a comment about what is wrong with their argument. You don't answer. Don't say, don't you think, right? So be careful about those questions, like, don't you think that, whatever. And then they can say yes or no, and you are not getting anything, right, from that. So that's the other, and one thing more, why are you asking questions? You are asking questions which helps you with your arguments. You know what kind of argument you will be running, right, for your case. And then you ask the questions which force them to say something which is support your argument, which will come later on in the debate. Okay? So these are like mainly the main questions. But points of information now, it's one of the elements of this type of debate, which is really important and makes also the whole debate much more alive. And you should try to do it as well as possible. It's not an important issue. It's something like, okay, judging. Now there are three why we are doing this debate. I will just go like there are three components, and here I think the biggest difference from different formats, from the other formats, is the word schools, because a lot of formats stress more just one thing, like policy debate format stress mainly the research and arguments, and it's really audience unfriendly, right? But it's very good in the deep, that's audience unfriendly friendly format, but it's really good in how in depth they go with analysis and how much they research and like that, right? Now the word schools format tries to combine three elements. Like one is of course content, right? Arguments, what we are saying, like the content. The other is style, and the third is strategy. Now these are three elements, and you evaluate on the basis of all three elements. And the winning or losing of the debate is done on, sum up the points from all these three. Like the debate format we used to debate in Slovenia, like Karl Popper was we evaluate all three elements, but the reason for the decision was only the argumentation. And that's like in the policy debate, is the reason for the is argumentation, the reason for the decision. In Lincoln Douglas debate, which you know from here, I don't know about public forum. Somebody debates public forum from you guys. Who is the one who debates public forum? Okay, what's the decision criteria? On basis of what they decide which teams win?
I'm actually not sure. They just sort of decide. They don't really have like a rubric or anything.
You just doesn't know why, on the basis of what is the decision made? What is more important, arguments or style, or both?
So it's the
or
arguments.
arguments, yeah. That's kind of like the American tradition in some way is much more about arguments and content and all the things like that. But like in the world schools, all this is important. So argumentation, the content is 40% of your score. The style is 40% and strategy is 20%. Now, when we are saying style, we'll start with that. What do we mean by that? When we say style, we mean that which usually goes, often people say that that's public speaking or rhetoric or whatever, but that are usually like the way how you use your body, the way if you have eye contact or you don't, the way how you move your body, right? Your gestures, the use of your vocabulary, the use of like the what to do with your voice, right? Are you too loud? Are you too silent? How you change, right? The way how you change the things, the use of your language, voice, and that thing. This goes by style, and that is like one of the things which I find, like especially in the international level, right? Because I come from the country which English is a foreign language. Like I'm still not sure if style being so important for the international level is not discriminatory for English foreign language speakers. Like in a way, it's a kind you just can't compete with the native speakers here because. But now that's the way how it is at the international level, and we, for now, we just can't. That I still think that somebody with debating in foreign language, in style, it's very difficult to be equal to the native speaker, because the use of your language is not so good. You're not so precise, and also the way what we think that it's like what we feel that is a good style is often different than the native speakers think. So here, but that's how it is. I think it's much better when everybody speaks in the same language. So that's so if we do in Slovenian and style is as important as the content, that's okay, right? Because we just decide. But when we go to the international level, like Koreans debate in English and compete and be evaluating on the basis of the style against the native speakers, you can't win that. They can always be better at the style, but that's how it is. So, so style is one of the components which judges will be evaluating, and then we are evaluating how you present the arguments. And when they also at the score sheet, when the judges fill the score sheets, there are different columns about the style and different columns for the argumentation. So at the end, you can see like in which category you are better and which you need to improve more, right? So there are different points which you are getting. The other issues, of course, argument and content. Like, as I say, American tradition is that their arguments are more important, the most important thing. Like a lot of other countries also have that, but here is kind of also the same, 40%. When we say the arguments, we mean what the reasons, what you are saying, the example you are having, the analysis you have. And basically, the argument should be like ideally, if we have an ideal situation, the argument should be evaluated like without the delivery, right? So like being written, if the judge is, that's difficult to separate, but that's how it should be evaluated, right? The strength of the arguments without the way how they're presented. That's like as you read them, right? So, yeah, I know that that's probably difficult to do it, but that's how it should be done, like all that. Now, strategy has only 20% of the score, but often the debates are win or loss on strategy. I think it's 20%, but it's really very important. Because the way And basically, when we debated today, right, when you debated today, the main problems you guys had were with strategy. Because under the strategy, there goes two things, right? One is the structure of the speeches, and the other is how you understand the issue. And I will speak a little more about it because that's really important. Like when we're talking about the structure of the speeches, right? That's nothing. It's not a big deal here. It's basically things which you are usually taught from the very beginning of your schooling. How you write the essays. You need to have an introduction, and then you need to have the main body, right? And then you need to have the conclusion. Each speech needs to have that. And I don't know why is that so difficult to do it, right? But that's the basic. Like the case needs to have a kind of a structure. So you introduce your case, then you develop your arguments, and then you conclude. And you need to, when you prepare the cases, and from now on, we expect you to try to do that, right? Just at the beginning, you spend 30 seconds, like 30 seconds, I think it's enough, on the introduction. And then at the end, don't start explaining your major argument in the last minute of your speech. In the last 30 seconds of your speech, you need to make a conclusion of what you said, right? And finish. Okay, so the other thing with the structure, we make it clear. Tell us what you are doing, like signposts, saying like we have 3 major arguments to support the motion, our first argument is, our second argument is, whatever. So make it really clear, because that's much more easier to follow, it's easier to understand, and the most important thing, you are gaining on your persuasiveness. You're much more persuasive when you are well organized, right? Also, like, and one of the things which it will be evaluated, and on the basis which you will win or lose, is how you can persuade the judge. And usually judges are much more persuaded when you make it really clear for them. You need to explain it, and we say so. Signposts, main structures, use numbers, right? Number 1 argument, number 2 argument, or whatever. Like or reason or whatever, you can. Sometimes when you really become a really good speaker, you usually don't need anymore these things, because you can, in the way how you use your style, like style helps you that we know that we are moving from one issue to the other issue. But then you really need a lot of practice to come there. And with some really very good speakers, are just by the way how they speak, they use all these rhetorical elements which you can use, like which you will hear in public speaking lecture, about how you use your voice and other elements to make your speech really persuasive. But then you don't need so much of that. But before you come to there, make it really clear, and then use whatever numbers and move from one issue to the other. Tell us what you plan to do, then explain what you are doing, then again at the end tell us what you have just done. Okay? So the structure is really important, and this goes under strategy. And basically, I need to tell you something that I hate the most when the judges tell us that we lost on the basis of strategy, right? Because that's so difficult to really explain what's. But there's a usually closed debates, which the arguments are pretty good on both sides. When the style is pretty good on both sides, and then we lose because on this consistency issue. That's the thing I hate. I know that means that we were pretty good, but still is that consistency or whatever structure, and we lost the debate on that, and then okay, but still it happens. The other issue is how you understand the issues, right? That here goes how you prioritize the arguments. Like, be careful. You need to be the most important argument should be at the beginning of your speech. Right? Then when you plan how you will do, for both sides you can get a lot of arguments, right? If you start brainstorming on every debate motion, you can get 10, 15 arguments easily for each side. Though they are not all strong the same, like some of them are stronger than the others. So basically what you need to do is to decide which one you will start and how you will go with them, right? So that's one of the things which, the other issue is when you are responding to each other, right? When you need, like, whenever you do the rebuttal, you need to, your opponents say a lot of arguments. You need to decide how you will do your rebuttal, right? Which things we will start first, which things we will, some of your arguments you will probably not answer, maybe are not so important, but this all goes to the strategy issue, right? Which issues, when listening, right, which arguments of the other side are the ones which you think that they are the most important, how you will address them, right? This goes on the strategy. And how you answer the points of information also, what you use that later, right? So this is kind of, I'm saying it gets only 20 points, but it's 20% of the points, but it's pretty important, especially when you are getting to close debates. These are usually things which decide when you're a judge, right? You are judge. Strategy usually decides when debates are
Yeah,
closed.
I mean, it's certainly not uncommon that you get a debate decided on things like decisions people have made about which arguments to base their case on.
Now about the score, how the scores goes, like the maximum points you can get as an individual speaker is 100. That's in theory. Nobody gets that. Okay? So 100 is all together. That means 40 for content, 40 for style, and 20 for strategy. But in total, what the judges are giving between 60 and 80. But nobody usually gets 60, and nobody usually gets 80. I think that the highest points in this, at least that's what chief adjudicators were saying, was that there was 76 were the highest points which were given in Seoul this year.
That can't be right. I gave a 76.5.
They did? Okay. And they said that there were like 65, 75, 76, that they were the highest, but they were, yeah, maybe somebody got 77.
So yeah, definitely not 80.
Yeah. Basically it goes between 60 and 80, but like 60, 61, 62, almost nobody gives it. You just don't give so low. But also 79, 78 is really rare, and 79, 80 probably nobody ever got so high. So, the reply speeches are half of this. And one of the things which is with the world schools is also you can give half a mark. So basically you can get 70.5, right? Or you can get 35.5 for reply speech. That's how this is divided. Now, this is the marking. Are there any questions about it?